is the Sunday edition of the Roundtable. It's also the end of daylight savings edition of the Roundtable. So, for those of you that are not aware, in the US, we do change our clocks twice a year. So, this is the new 8 a.m. And I can't remember if I know some countries do change their clocks, others don't. But this is the time where we come together. So, whatever time this is in your time zone, this is when we come together to talk about data science and anything related to the world of being a data professional. So, thank you so much for joining me. If you do need to adjust your timing and your clocks, please do so. This is it. I am here virtually every day. If I have to cancel, I do post a notice over on my Instagram. But love having you guys here. Love getting together every single day to talk about data and what it means in your life, what it means in your career. I am here to hold space, to facilitate, to talk, to listen, to give advice, get advice, whatever you guys want. I'm here for it. Please let me know what's on your mind. Please let me know what you're thinking about. And yeah, we'll just go from there. Happy to have all of you guys joining. Manoj, how are you in the chat? Good morning, Sir Dennis. Greetings from Bangalore, India. Greetings to you too, Manoj. Manoj, maybe you can tell me if they switch clocks in India. I might be, yeah, Manoj says it's a bit later than usual. Well, for some parts of the world, yes. For other parts that do switch the clocks like the US does, I'm at the same time, right? So yes, you're right, Manoj. For some countries, it is a little bit of a different shift, but that's just the way it goes. Okay, so it's 9:30 on your end. It would usually have been 8:30, I'm guessing. Okay, good to know. Thanks for that, Manoj. Appreciate that. Daylight save. Well, I guess it's the end of daylight savings now. It happens twice a year here in the U.S. One time in the fall, one time in the spring, usually around April, I believe. But yeah, we do move our clocks back in the fall. So to me, it's still 8 a.m. Which is the time I intend to stream. But yes, it would be an hour later for some of you around the world, and for other people, some people in the world, it's the same time. Manoj says usually you start at 8:30 on YouTube. Yeah, Manoj. So I hope you'll be able to make that shift. I hope everybody's able to make that shift. But it is an hour's difference. It is a little bit different. Agape, how are you, my friend? I think you were here last week. Welcome back. Agape says, hi, sir. Hey, Agape, how are you? Hope you're well. Let me know how you're doing in your part of the world. We also have Manoj in our chat from India. So anything I can help you guys with, anything you guys want to talk about, I'm here for it. I've already started my day over here. Agape says, happy Sunday. Yeah, happy Sunday to you too. I hope you're having a good Sunday. I hope everyone's having a good Sunday. I have gotten my Sunday off to a good start. So I had a good breakfast this morning. I made myself some good eggs, some good fried eggs. So I'm feeling good. Yo, Dennis, hey, how are you? You changed your username. I don't want to give you away, but oh wow, okay, I just made out your username in the hack speak. Sample bias, nice. I love that. What a name for a data scientist. I love it. Yeah, you've been here before. I remember under your own name, but I don't want to give you away. But yeah, sample bias. What a name. I love it. I love it. Casual economist. Casual economist. One thing I like about the casual economist. He comes in so happy and positive. He's always an optimistic guy. He's such a good guy. He always brings good cheer to the chat. Always smiling and positive. And look at him say, daylight savings will be the death of me. Oh gosh. Casual economist, let's try to not be dramatic, my friend. Come on. Where's that usually strong positivity that I'm accustomed to from you? Come on, my friend. But yeah, guys, it is and by the way, casual economist, I've been trying to be more accurate in my words, and it's not daylight savings that's killing you. It's the end of daylight savings. What we're in now is the natural state. We're supposed to be like this. This is like the non-daylight savings, like the natural time. So it's actually not that it'll be the death of you, it'll be that the end of daylight savings is the death of you. And actually, casual economists, that's not 100% true, because with this one, you're still getting the same amount of sleep, but if you make a mistake, you'll just be an hour early to everything instead of an hour late, right? So it's the one in the spring that gets you more, because that's the one that where you have to wake up earlier, and also you'll be late to things if you don't do it right. So I would argue this is the easier one, and this is the one that, like nature intended, right? Like this is regular daylight. So sample bias, Manoj, casual economist, Agape, great to have you guys here. Hope your Sunday is going well. Love the names. I can't get over that. Sample bias, love it. That would make a good license plate too, but probably too long. Agape says, I have been interviewing for international data science positions. I am kind of worried about the leak code questions that have been asked instead of the actual data science case study questions. Yeah, Agape, thanks for bringing that up. Agape, obviously I know that everyone's applying to what they can, to what's available. I know you're in a foreign country, so you're kind of just taking everything I can. But I got to tell you guys, I have yet to meet a company that overly emphasizes the leak code questions and the coding questions that is a good company to work for. Show me a company that does leak code and all that nonsense and has a very strong culture inside. I don't think that exists. I really believe that. I think that the people that are asking that are well, because remember, in a lot of cases, the interview process is also put together by the individual managers, right? Those managers tend to not be very good, right? If they're overly emphasizing leak code, they tend to not be very strong managers, and the companies themselves don't tend to be very strong, like culture-wise. And you know what, Agape, hang in there, because that's changing. There are companies that are starting to test on prompting, right? Letting you use AI agents or AI help during the interview process, during the case study process. So hang in there. I get it. It can be frustrating. But these are companies you probably wouldn't want to work for anyways. Like long term, you're not going to be happy there. I've never asked any leak code questions or even any coding questions in my interviews. I'll ask you theory. I want to make sure that you're able to explain yourself, that you're able to have the soft skills to explain your work. But asking those questions doesn't make for good data scientists, and it doesn't make for a good culture. So Agape, hang in there. Hang in there. Mohammed says hi. Hey, how are you guys? Soham also says hi. Nice to see you guys. Feel free to say hello if you'd like. Let us know where you're from. But this is the Data Roundtable, where we come together and talk about anything we want. I say that because Mohammed and Soham, I think it's your first time here. So feel free to say hello. Feel free to contribute, whatever you'd like. There is no agenda here. Right now we're just kind of sharing how everyone's Sunday is going. My Sunday has gotten off to a great start. I took my dog to the park. I got myself a coffee. I got myself a venti coffee today. I got one of the big ones today. So yeah, feeling really good after that. And I made some eggs. I made a little bit of sausage for breakfast. It was good. I had a good breakfast today, guys. Had a good breakfast. Casual Economist says the springtime change has the increase in deaths in senior citizens. Is that right, Casual Economist? You're right. I know one of them does, but I can't remember which one. I don't know. Increase of deaths in senior citizens. So let's workshop this. This could be fun. So I would usually, my presumption in that study, Casual Economist, would be that older people tend to wake up early, right? You don't hear about older people sleeping in till noon, right? They tend to be early risers, right? The early mall walkers and the early people who go swimming at 5 a.m. at the YMCA. That's how I think of senior citizens, right? So if you're a senior citizen in the fall, When you wake up, and usually wake up at say 5 a.m., it'll be 6 a.m., right? No, no, it'll be 4 a.m., it'll be earlier. So that means that older people are getting up earlier when it's potentially darker. So is that possible? Okay. So let's think about the spring. In the spring, if you're an older person, you usually get up at 5 a.m. You'll have to get up earlier because 5 a.m. is now 6 a.m. and now you're late for your 5 a.m. swim. So maybe that would cause older people to rush more. Or, or when they set the alarm for the new time, they think it's 5 a.m., but it's actually 4 a.m. So you're forcing yourself to get up 1 hour earlier, or at least your body feels it's 1 hour earlier, right? So yeah, I think it makes sense that the one in the spring, when you're forcing yourself to get up earlier, the clock says 5, but your body thinks it's 4. That would cause more senior citizen deaths, as opposed to right now in the fall, your body thinks it's 6 a.m., but you're getting up at 5 a.m. So yeah. We can obviously put some data behind this, but we just formed a hypothesis, right? The hypothesis makes sense. So we can go out and test that, right? Yeah. So guys, let me know what you think about that in the comments if you want to walk through that also. But that's a fun little workshop exercise. So thanks for bringing that up, Casual Economist. Mohammed says, I'm a junior AI engineer from Egypt. Welcome, Mohammed. Nice to have you here. Glad you're here. We're here every day. So at this time, whatever time it is in Egypt for you right now, we are here. Excuse me. So feel free to keep on coming back. We have no agenda here. We just talk with whatever comes up, whatever people want to bring up. It's open forum. Anybody can bring up any topic. That's the beauty of the Data Roundtable, right? I like to keep it very democratic that way. That way we can talk about whatever comes up. So yeah. So I hope your Sunday's going well in Egypt. I think it's a little bit later in the day over there. Probably dinner time. But yeah, I'm just going to be here and enjoying my day. I'm going to do my streaming, and then I have a little bit of client work to do, and then I just might grill some chicken later or do something else. Who knows? Casual Economist says, I always come with an agenda. Casual Economist, you are just killing me with your positive views today. You're so positive today, Casual Economist. You came in strong complaining about daylight savings, and now you always have an agenda. You're so positive. You're so positive. We got to keep a positive attitude, right, guys? It affects so much of our outlook, so much of our health, so much of everything is related with a positive outlook. So I try to wake up every day and think to myself, you know what? I'm healthy. I'm not bedridden. I'm not sick. I have all my arms and limbs. It's going to be a good day. We're going to try to, do the best we can today. I always like to kind of maintain that positive attitude, because sometimes, you know what? That's all you got in life. Sometimes all you got is what's going on in between in your head here, and whether you look at it positively or whether you look at it negatively, it affects you a lot. I really think it has an overwhelming or overarching effect on your day and on your life. So, Casual Economist, thanks for bringing that positivity here. But yeah, guys, let me know what you're up to. Let me know what's going on in your lives. This morning, I actually sent out a special bulletin to my clients where there was a great example of total ownership, which is a form of leadership that I really enjoy. So if you're one of my one-on-one coaching clients, you did receive that this morning. I'm going to be doing some content on it. I don't think I'll record it today. I'm not in a recording mood today, but there's a great example out there of total ownership and leadership. And if you're somebody who wants to do more leadership type of activities in your future, total ownership is definitely something to look into. Casual Economist says, another positive, you don't have a PhD in computer science. Casual Economist, thank you so much. That is a massive, massive positive aspect of my life that I don't have that. Manoj agrees. Yeah, guys. You know, maybe, you know how like you hate peas as an adult because your mother made you eat your peas, at the dinner table or whatever, right? I remember I was working for IBM. We had a corporate weekend, like a corporate retreat. It was in Chicago, and there were so many things wrong with that retreat. It was terrible. I don't want to say too much about it, but it was terrible. IBM got cheap on the company got cheap on us, and it was just like a terrible retreat. And I remember that it was, we had a keynote presentation at one of the theaters in Chicago. They had rented out the theater, did a keynote presentation, and the speaker was one of the PhDs from one of the IBM research labs in New York, like at the headquarters, right? IBM is headquartered in Armonk, New York. I'm pretty sure they have research labs there. And there was a PhD from one of the research labs, and he was the keynote. And he gave the world's most boring presentation. I was so bored out of my mind. And I remember it was so boring, I was fighting off sleep because it was first thing in the morning and all that. And I didn't sleep so well because the company got cheap on the accommodations they gave us. It was just terrible. And I just remember this guy gave the most boring presentation, and he was a PhD in computer science working for the research lab. And he was just talking about things that were like 30, 40 years off into the future, and just like these dumb, just like purely theoretical things, right? And I remember that at that time I was in this work mode where I was just crushing it with clients, right? I was like, I was on the road basically like every week, like traveling all over the country, all over the world. And I just thought, this guy is up there talking, on, and he couldn't do like 10% of what I do because I work in the real world. I don't work in the theoretical world, right? And I remember that I promised myself I would never, ever, ever end up like that. Like I've never wanted to be a theorist, right? I never want to be someone who just kind of, comes up with theoretical white papers instead of actually doing the work, like actually being the hands at the keyboard, right? But I just remember like maybe that's one of those like traumatic experiences because I was incredibly bored. I was like nodding off, and this guy went on for like, it must have been like an hour, hour and a half. Like it was a long keynote, right? And I think that's just one of those things that kind of shaped me where it's like, I never want to be that guy. I never want to be putting an audience to sleep like this idiot is doing up there, right? Like I just vowed to never end up like that. Like to me, that guy was, that guy was our keynote speaker. He was working for IBM, probably making like double the money that I was, and I was making good money. And I was like, this guy thinks he's tops, but he's a clown. Like I never want to be this guy. Never, ever, ever want to be that guy. Like I just, like I said, maybe it's an experience that shaped me or whatever. But I was like, man, this guy is an idiot. May God save me from being that guy. Right? Like, like how you always see the guy, like the rich man seeing the poor guy walking by, therefore, but God's grace goes I, right? Like that's what I thought. I thought, if I ever end up looking like this guy, I've let God down, right? Like God hates me if he ever lets me be that guy up on the stage talking about theory, putting an audience to sleep. I just thought, like I never want to do that. Never. So that's what I do now, right? I give you guys the real world, right? But yeah, like just going through that experience is just like, wow, like that guy's like the world's biggest loser, right? Mohammed says, if you have advice for juniors on how to land a job at an international company, I would love to hear them. I've made it to the final interview a few times, but haven't received a job offer yet. Mohammed, that's soft skills. I don't know you, Mohammed. I've never talked to you. I have no idea what your resume looks like. But if you are failing at the last stage, that is soft skills. 100%. How do I know that? You don't make it to the last stage unless they're willing to pay your salary. You don't make it to the last stage unless they're willing to, handle your visa or international issues or remote work. You don't make it to the last stage unless you've passed the technical tests. So that is soft skills. That is 100% soft skills. Right? I can guarantee you that. So if you want to, check the links in my profile, I'd be happy to work with you one-on-one. But I don't know you. It's your first time in this chat, but I can guarantee you it's soft skills. Especially if you're making it to the last rounds, because usually in those rounds, you're no longer interviewing like with your colleagues or your manager. You're usually interviewing with like your manager's manager, right? Because those are the later like what they call the fit interviews, right? That's usually like your last steps. Like when I was hired at Citi, the last interviews are always like with the managing director, and he's he's not technical at all, right? So they're just making sure that you're a nice guy and that you can get along with them, right? Because they're ultimately responsible for your salary and all that. So yeah, that's soft skills. That's 100% soft skills. So if you'd like more guidance, feel free to click on the link in my bio. But yeah, you wouldn't be making it that far if you didn't have other positives going for you. But in today's market, you have to have everything be positive. So there's something in your soft skills that is not positive, right? But yeah, that's what I would tell you, Mohammed. Thanks for sharing. I mean, I know it's not easy to talk about your job search, especially if it hasn't been successful. So I get it. Thanks for sharing. But yeah, that's what I would tell you. So guys, feel free to share anything else that you'd like. I'm here for as long as you guys would like to talk. But I'm just looking forward to doing my streaming, doing a little bit of work, and then just relaxing, trying to have a good Sunday afternoon, trying to have a positive day. I'm not going to swim today. I've been swimming a lot, but I am going to take a little break from swimming today, get back at it tomorrow. But it's a beautiful day, beautiful weather day where I live. So I'm just going to enjoy everything I can today, just have a good time. I'm going to make some chicken later, which I'm really, 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 really looking forward to because the chicken is so good. But yeah, guys, that's what I'm up to. So, you know what, guys? I'm going to switch over to Instagram. Thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate all of you. Feel free to follow me over on Instagram if you'd like. I'm going to start streaming in a couple of seconds here. But as always, please take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and I will see you again tomorrow, guys.